Today is Friday. Are you guys ready for the weekend? I know I am. Clearly I must be because we ain't got nothing on here like it's supposed to be, do we, Arthur? I blame Arthur as he's dancing in the background to the beat of his own drum, just like his mother. It's fun. It is Friday. I hope you guys are ready for the typical work week to end. I know a lot of our viewers, their weekend doesn't start on Friday. Sometimes it starts on Monday. Sometimes their weekend is in the middle of the week. That's the joy of America. Even though we think that there is a norm, there's no such thing as normal, especially around here. And we like it that way. Hope you guys are enjoying the crumpled up blanket behind me, and hopefully my doesn't drive me crazy. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The kids were sitting on my couch. They like to sit on my couch in my office and watch cartoons when I'm on the phone or when I'm doing work or whatever. So I wasn't that late. It was like, what, 40 seconds late, maybe. Man, you guys are so punctual around here. I can't handle this kind of pressure. So you know, it is nice to see Putin riding a horse. But instead of Simon, you're raising me a Putin riding a horse. Might I raise you back a Sheila on a wheeler? Are you ready? Dang it, hold on. It didn't pop up. Hold on. I got it. Oh. Come on, you stupid picture. Okay, there it goes. Okay, might I raise you a Sheila on a wheeler? Here we go. You guys know Sheila Jackson Lee is running for mayor. I have to agree immensely, Arthur. I did not see Mayorkas riding a motorcycle. Now you have to send it because now we have Sheila on a wheeler. Maybe we have Trader on a. We got to come up with something. We're going to have to come up with a good one. Simon, the ball's in your court now. Mayorkas on a bike. Mayorkas on a bike. I had a Sheila on a wheeler, so now you need a new one. Now you gotta have one. When you send me this Mayorkas picture, you better have a good one. I found a lot of ridiculous news today. I know that y'all won't believe this. But it's important. Look, y'all, I listen to the people. Y'all told me that you wanted more ridiculous news. And you like the crazy shows. So I'm gonna give it to you, Sam. Oh shoot, I have to send this in. I forgot to send the link out. So I'm going to do that for you guys before our J6ers come on. I believe Walt's going to be joining us also. Our dear friend Eric, though, I'm sorry, General. Mel Hawley, and apparently she has interviewed more J6ers than anybody that Helena knows. So that says everything I need to know. And I'm excited to have them on in a little bit. Okay, sorry. I was a loser. Said it out loud. Anyway, y'all were mentioning yesterday that you like the crazy shows where I am off the rails, which that never happens. But here we are with crazy shows off the rail. So I was looking at the news this morning. Check your email. Oh. I didn't see it pop. Oh, there it is. Oh man, we need another trader on a loser on a cruiser. There we are. Ooh. But Alejandro. But it doesn't see Sheila on a wheeler worked. Loser on a cruiser works also, but it doesn't really. How do you rhyme with Alejandro Mayorkas? Traitor. That's how you rhyme Alejandro Mayorkas. What rhymes with Alejandro Mayorkas? Traitor. Kind of like what rhymes with the word orange? Nothing. That's all I got on that one. Okay. So crazy news. Where do we start? I want to start with this one. I tell people all the time, people don't believe me, and people are Walter, and that's fine. I tell people all the time that people get their news from memes, and I am not excluded from this. I also get my news from memes, not all the time, but sometimes like you'll see memes and you're just like, what the heck does that mean? And so then you go and you look it up and then you discover news. Well, that happened to me yet again this morning. So there for like the last couple of days, I've been seeing things about bananas and what's her name? Lizzo. And this shouldn't be important, but it is. Do you know why it is? Because she's being sued, and more importantly, it's not so much that she's being sued. It's not even so much that we care that she's being sued, because I don't listen to her music. I mean, it's not terrible, I suppose, but it's not my jams, yo. But I've got friends whose jams it is, and she's supposed to be Miss Body Image and like all this other nonsense. Well, anyway, she's being sued by her other performers that are on her show, right, on her stage show and everything, because of sexual harassment claims as well as body shaming claims. And so apparently she is known by in the industry, or at least in those circles of her industry, for having this fetish, having some fetishes. And I have children in the room, so y'all are going to have to do just a little bit of reading here. But as you can see, it has to do with bananas and clubs in Amsterdam. So yeah. So why does this matter? Why does this matter to conservatives? It shouldn't, but it does, because this is an HR issue for multiple reasons. So in the allegations, and others confirmed it, that they're not even involved in the lawsuit, that are no longer with her organization, saying, hey, this is some of the reasons that I left her organization, her company, or whatever, because of these laws, or because of these acts. And so she was forcing them to go to these shows, and I'll allow you to Google them. But more importantly, this is somebody who is revered for making sure that women specifically, but also being an outspoken person. Yeah, they were, well, and I guess she was treating them like slaves, Simon, as opposed to treating them like employees. And include, and even in the lawsuit, it cited that if they realized that they had to go to these places with her if they wanted to kind of keep their status within the organization and all those kinds of things. And it's concerning for so many levels, because one of the things that this is why we always say, make sure you know what your kids are watching and listening to and all those kinds of things, because this is somebody that has been being revered by minority groups, by girls, because she's proud of who she is. She's smart, she's talented, she's this, she's that. And now she's forcing her employees to go to these events, and not just go to them, but participate against their will. But because they were afraid of losing their job or their status within this industry, they were doing it. Now, unfortunately, the entertainment world is full of this. If you've seen The Sound of Freedom, which is still in theaters, by the way, if you see The Sound of Freedom, you see where this young girl finds out that she's, a scout is watching her, and it's a supermodel, and it's somebody who was on the Miss America stage. I'm sorry, not Miss America, but the Miss Universe stage. And she says, "Hey, you're very talented. I think that your talent is something that we could use." And so she lures this little girl in. Well, this happens all the time. It really does. You see these talent scouts. I went to when I was a teenager and a younger girl. My parents took me, or my mom did, to a couple of we went to it was supposed to be a Disney one. I remember it was at a hotel. Now we didn't go any further with that one specifically, but you start seeing these things, and the problem is you get young girls. I'm going to pick on girls, okay, because I'm a girl. So you get these young girls who are talented. They can dance, they can sing, they can act, they're funny, fill in the blank. And they want to be in this industry, right? They want to be on the big stage. They can be the next Hannah Montana. They can be the next fill in the blank, right? Because they are talented and they can be that next person. But this industry is so full of garbage and filth and terribleness. If you remember when the Weinstein stuff happened and all of Hollywood went, yeah, we're not surprised. Men and women, they all said, yeah, well, we all knew if you wanted to work for him, you had to just, it is what it is if you want to make it in this industry. When we start realizing how and because the conversation kind of came up before I ever looked into this Lizzo thing. Um, yeah, that's exactly what she's doing. Bacon. When yesterday something was said yesterday, the day before, with one of the boys, we were at the pool and we were just kind of talking, whatever. And I can't remember which one of the big boys it was, but we were talking about, you know, movies and things like that. Oh, I think one of them mentioned about the strike in Hollywood. I guess the Actors Guild and the writers and all that kind of crap, they're on strike again. And I said, yeah, they do that every few years. It's not, they get over it and they come to some sort of agreement, and welcome to the mafia lifestyle, if you will. And I said, it's really not that big of a deal. And he's like, yeah, but they're running out of stuff, to air and whatever. And I was like, I'll be honest, I really haven't watched any of it in a really long time. And I said, because a lot of it all stems from Harvey Weinstein and all of these others. And now you're seeing Lizzo. This is common practice. So we're upset because all of these people who've been doing this for decades are complaining of unpaid wages and things like that, but it's still the same people in charge. It's still the same grooming mentality. If you really start cracking back into some of this, like the Hannah Montanas and what was that other girl, Lizzie McGuire was her fake name, Hillary Duff. When you start looking at all of those, that time frame of girls and people coming up into the industry, when you look at the Michael Jackson stuff, when you look at pretty much anybody from the Jackson 5 all the way until present time, if they were a young kid and they wanted to get into this industry, there was only one way to do it. Yes, they were incredibly talented. So in order for, I was right. In order for them to crack into this, literally, I'm going to leave you alone with the producer for a little while. It'll be fine. They love you too. Don't forget that. And some of these cases, if you look at Britney Spears, I think Britney Spears was probably one of the most shocking ones from our time frame, because she wore it out there on her sleeve. She shaved her head. She was doing everything she could to get people to get the attention of, she was exploited, but she was exploited by her family. Her parents were the ones that put her in that position. And as crazy as she is, she has every right to be. Everybody in her world traded her in for sex so that they could make millions and then not give her access to it. And so then she started trying to protect her little sister from it. Like, if you actually stop and you look backwards at some of this with this mindset now at it, people can sit here and talk all the trash they want to about Britney Spears and all of these other women. But their parents literally knew that they were going to end up becoming raped or exploited in this fashion so that they could make millions of dollars and take it from their children before they ever even had the opportunity to do it. I mean, it is everything that the Sound of Freedom is talking about on national display, and nobody wants to draw that connection and say, hey, here it is. They're just crazy, and we don't listen to them because they're crazy. Honey child, I can trust and believe that most of you I do it too. I used to have their songs. I might even still have some of their songs on my stuff. And when I'm feeling in that 90s groove, guess what comes on my radio? I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Because it's the music we grew up with. That was who we were. It's who we are. But when you really realize what their sacrifice was, it wasn't necessarily a sacrifice that they willingly did. Now it's a different conversation that nobody wants to have. Now I'm not trying to come out and say I know everything that's going on in their world, because I certainly do not. But when you start seeing the parallels and you start realizing the behavior patterns, now it's kind of like, oh man, that was in our face the whole time and nobody said anything. This is why it's important. Let those little freaks out there on the West Coast. I don't care that they're protesting and whatever else thing. You're on strike. Good. You know what? While you're on strike, maybe find some morals. And it's a shame too. Like do you remember when Jimmy Fallon was hysterical? I used to love Jimmy Fallon. I used to love Seth Meyers. Like I loved all of those people in the 90s and early 2000s. But then when you watch, I mean, like overnight, they changed their tune. They went from just being able to be funny. Yeah, you probably knew that they were kind of maybe Democrats. Jimmy Fallon, though, used to be fairly conservative. Before Obama came in office, he was actually, yes, they all made their jokes. I mean, every comedian makes jokes about both sides of the aisle. Everybody does. I mean, hell, we make fun of the Republicans more than we do the Democrats. That's not where the problem lies. The problem lies in what was it that snapped in these people? What was it that they held over them so preciously? What was the mentality? And I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about the exploratory committee that we're working on, and talking to I'll be a little bit blanketed because it's a private conversation between them and other people, elected officials. But they were talking specifically about how it really is a bubble. Like they really only get whatever information is fed to them, specifically in Washington, D.C. And so they really have no idea about what's going on that they're not fed from somebody else. Even after they've spent the time in their district, when they go back, it's almost like there's some sort of, they didn't say it like this. So this is me ad-libbing and just kind of putting my 2 cents into it. But it's kind of like, they're like, hey, we just got brainwashed. And we're with you people all the time. So we're there. It's so fast paced. And if you pay attention to, and I can tell you this from a firsthand experience, when you're in politics, especially when you're going from one city to another, and you're trying to stay current with whatever's going on, you do rely on your team to help keep you informed on what's going on in the world around you. I had the best and worst campaign manager on the planet because he would make me do my own research. I mean, not that he didn't give me plenty of information and make sure that I had factual information. But Walt would make me do my own research, and I would get so mad. I'm like, other people have people to do this for them. And he's like, yeah, that's why you're different. Remember that. If you want to run for office, if you want to be the person that's making the calls and calling all the shots, and you just rely on everybody else's information, who's really calling the shots? You or the people who are giving you the information? And he would tell me all the time, don't take what I'm giving you at face value. Even if I send you an article or two, do your own research. Do you know how much extra time that adds to your day? Tons. But it is so vital that we make sure that we can clean up some of this corruption. And everybody wants to talk about, oh, you have to make sure you take family time. And oh, you have to make sure that you have time to breathe. And goose baba and yada, yada, yada. But the reality of it is the second that you take a pause, even if it's just to go to the bathroom, you miss out on something. And so we put these elected officials, or we put these social media people, or I'm sorry, not social media people, but not really these musicians or these actors. We put them up on this pedestal because they're like, you worked hard to get there, so you must know what you're doing and saying, and we have to trust and vet this information from you, because if it came from your mouth, it's got to be true. So we, Johnny Public, don't vet it out further. I'd like to, for an example. Now, we're still in the vetting process of this, but I need you to work with me here on this. Tony Gonzalez, after his censure, claimed that he flipped a county. So I've been looking. I haven't seen where a county got flipped. So I reached out to the people in the district, and I said, hey, what do you guys got? Because I'm coming up with a bunch of big old goose eggs. What county flipped? The unspoken claim, because nobody knows what county it truly was, is Maverick County, where somebody just got more votes going in that. Nothing flipped in this county per se. A true flip of a county is president and governor. More specifically, governor, because that's why Zapata County flipped. It didn't fully flip in 2020. It started its transition flip in 2020 from blue to red, because they flipped from a traditionally blue presidential district into a red. They went from blue to red, right? They voted for Donald Trump. That's why they were like the shot that was heard around the world. And everybody and their mother takes credit for it. And they never, ever give it to Ginny and Anna and the team down there. Ever do they give it to those amazing warriors for the cause. But they didn't fully flip. They didn't fully transition into a red county where they actually have control of the county's elections until they flipped red in 2022 for the governor's race. That's when they became a red county. That's when they became a red county. So we're going to be following this developing story. We're going to see, we're doing some more digging. We're still researching. We're still, and hey, you guys know me. I'm the first one to say, hey, I was wrong on this information. Here's what I said. Here's where I was wrong. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Just kidding. It happens more frequently than I'd like to admit that it does. But that's because we want to make sure that our information is factual. But people in Washington, D.C., they don't take those extra steps to make sure it's vetted out. I think some of them try. I think Chip Roy is probably one of the better ones that does. He's one of the very few that does. Because the other side to it is, if you want to be a noisemaker where you're highly known and recognized, and then you also want to make sure that your stuff, it's a hard act. It is. There's a lot of good representatives up there that are very much mushrooms, if you will. There are wallflowers, like they're there. They don't make a lot of headlines, but it's because they're busy doing the work. And to be somebody who can make the headlines and do the work and make sure that all of your stuff is factual, that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication from a good team. It takes a lot of vetting. It takes a lot of personal research from the candidate / elected official, which is their job, but we don't hold them for that. We don't hold them to that accountability of that. It's disgusting. This is where we, the people, work come in. This is where we have to make sure that we're vetting out their information. And when they're wrong, we need to call them out for it. Trust and believe that happened to me more than once. That's why I started making sure before I open my mouth, let me make sure I know what the hell I'm talking about. Don't give me half-ass information. Because I'm the one with the egg on my face. It came out of my mouth. It didn't come out of somebody else's. You're welcome for that. But this is why this matters. This is why I'm so dedicated to making sure that Texas Fully Loaded gets this information out. Even if it's just all 20 people that listen every single day. Because maybe us 20 people will make the difference because we start affecting the world around us. I know you guys have seen this done before, especially if you've been in the church world or in a marketing class. But one person tells one person, that one person tells one person, that one person tells one person, or better yet, the big ones where it's like one person tells 5 people. And then those 5 people, I don't have enough fingers. Right? It's that same concept. And it's not just telling somebody, it's making them stop and think about it. Now, I'm not saying like go around and being all Ernest Angley on people and like busting them in the head and be like, evil spirit to fake primaries be gone. Like, I'm not asking you to do that. Just a step down of that. Yeah. That's the same way the rumors start. That's exact. Look, if truth went around like rumors did, how great would the world be? See what I did there? Remember, it's like the telephone game. Remember the telephone game? Simon, I need to make the people laugh. Funnier than Sheila on a wheeler. Walter wasn't commenting then, so I don't think he saw it. He sent me the picture, so he saw that. But I mean, like, he missed the Sheila on a wheeler. That's not going to get old. Okay, here's some other news. Now, the other news that I saw this morning on Facebook was actually really kind of funny. And I was like, what in the crap? It was a meme again. Memes teach the world powerful messages. Hold on, I want you guys to see this meme because the meme was funny. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, okay, I'm missing something here. So let's let me pull it up so you guys can see it. Oh no, I thought Gavin shared it. Oh, well, this is what I get for not taking a screenshot of it. Okay, so it was a bear, and over the bear's face, it's that like a little bubble. It said, "Dad, how much longer do I have to sit in here and wear this costume?" And then Dad off screen says, "Shut up, Hunter. Daddy's working." Absolutely hysterical. And I was like, okay, there's something to that. Of course, we always call him China Joe, but we should really, there's probably way more than that. And so anyway, so here's the news story. A Chinese zoo denies its sun bears are people in costume. Now, this came up. Walter thought I was stupid for talking about this, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So this is the bear that people thought was not a bear. They thought it was a human in a bear costume because of the way that he's standing. And then there was another picture. Hold on. There was I'm surprised Walter hasn't come in to kick me off my own show yet. Then there was another picture. Of course, I'm not going to find it now. Where, let me show this. This is it. Where his butt looks like a pair of baggy pants. And some people didn't think that it was, hold on, why didn't it show the other picture? Share this tab instead. That's why. No, that's the same one. Dork face. Okay, forget it. There it is. Okay, this one. They thought that it was, anyway, they thought it was baggy pants. And it was really just a bear. The Chinese zoo is claiming it's not fake, it's a bear. And it's 104 degrees here. So a human would probably end up dying if he was in a bear costume. Now, I'm not a bear expert, although I am, because I have a little bear that runs around here. But I don't know, it looks kind of funny, like when you think about it. Now, the reason that this became a wildly popular situation, the reason this became a wildly popular situation and people were claiming that it was a human is because apparently Chinese zoos have a history of putting humans in costumes to fill their exhibits. I'm not making this up. In I think it was 2016. I think it was 2016. They said that one of the zoos, I think it was the same zoo, made somebody wear a gorilla costume, and then a couple of years before that, another zoo made they put a mastiff in the encampment, or like in the display for a lion, and put a lion head around him. Like you can get off of Amazon. Like I know you've seen those pictures, but they were filling their exhibits with animals that were not that animal dressed up as other animals or humans. So the moral of the story, kitties, is if it comes from China, it's probably a lie. It's probably a lie. It's probably not what you think it is. You know, kind of like the Wuhan flu. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be right back. are back with a huge, huge thank you to our amazing sponsors. By the way, Simon, you may have been correct. Apparently, my mother texted me when I was 30 seconds late as well. A huge thank you to our amazing sponsors, the Montgomery County Tea Party. Don't forget the first and the third Monday of every month, be at Citizens Grill in Conroe, Texas. The meeting starts at 6:30 sharp, not 6:30 and 45 seconds, apparently. It's too much. It's too late. So make sure that you're there on time. Get yourself something yummy to eat. Hug some necks. See some old friends. Meet some new friends. And, maybe get involved. Do some of that We the People work we talk about all the time. Also, don't forget about our Vietnam Veterans of America. Their service and sacrifice went far beyond a distant shore. They still continue. Thank you. They still continue to serve their communities and their fellow veterans, both past and present. So when you see one, tell them welcome home. Check out vva.org. See if there's a location near you or a group near you that you can get involved with. Buy a raffle ticket. Get involved. They need you, and they were there for you. So now be there for them. And if you're sick and tired of the big box shopping like I know you are, go to mammothnation.com/#WeThePeopleWork. That part's crucial so that you can get a special discount for signing up. And when you sign up, we get credit for you signing up. So you save money and you help support Texas Fully Loaded. And trust me, we need it. And so make sure that you do that. And if you really, really want to support Texas Fully Loaded, go to TexasFullyLoaded.com, click on the #WeThePeopleWork, or if you want to get some of this amazing swag, this is one of the first t-shirts that Dad made. And so it's super soft and comfortable, and it's Texas Fully Loaded, and you need one too. But you need one of the new pretty colors that we have out there. So go to TexasFullyLoaded.com, click on the TFL shop, and get to shopping. Shopping. Okay. Before I go into anything else, there is something that y'all need to see. This is one of those things you never really know, so you kind of have to vet it out yourself. So I did, just like we were just talking about. Last night, I saw several people on my friends list, both political and non-political, sharing a post about somebody who was missing. I went back, I checked it out, I read the comments and everything else. This is legitimate. I shared this on the Sandra for Texas page. This is Mr. Philip Loveday. Mr. Loveday was last seen on August 2nd around 9:30 in the morning when he left for work in the from Corpus Christi. His wife became concerned when he didn't show up for work or at church. He had accidentally forgotten his phone at home. Apparently, he's a Kinder Morgan employee. He was in his work truck. They do not have trackers on their work trucks, apparently. So here's the information. If you have any information, or if you've seen him, if you live in South Texas, anywhere, please make sure that you check your game cameras if you have land or stuff like that. See if you see him on there. He's a pastor at one of the churches in Freer. So, this is where I always tell, when I was running for Congress for District 28, I used to tell people, you may not live there, but you probably know somebody that does. He didn't live in District 28, but he worked in District 28 and even served in District 28 as a pastor. So if you can, go back and keep your eyes peeled, especially if you're around, if you know some oil and gas workers in the area, send his picture and information. They're desperately trying to find him, and we're praying for a happy and safe return. So please be in prayer for that. Okay. Oh, it's not a problem. Well, Simon. Fine. Transition time. Okay. We're transitioning here into a new news cycle stuff. We'll start off fun, and then we'll go to not fun. How does that sound? It's kind of sad fun, though. Y'all remember Cartoon Network? Cartoon Network, right? I tell you guys all the time I love cartoons. Simon and I were on a cartoon bender earlier this week, I think. Anyway, Cartoon Network is ending. I'm super sad about that. I mean, not that I've watched it in forever, but Cartoon Network is ending. They were on the air for 21 years and actually 31 years, I guess. 92. Whew. Makes you feel old, doesn't it? Anyway, so they're gone. They're ending their network. It's they're like, all of the gold is found online and stuff like that. So I say that though. I think that there was a couple of shows that we were trying to find and we couldn't find it. Like you had to find it exclusively through their stuff. So I don't know if maybe I think it was maybe I don't know where those kids are. It was the Adventure Time, maybe. I want to say it was Adventure Time we were trying to find. You know, Cartoon Network was one of those things. Nickelodeon and Disney, well, politics and truth aside, you know, those were ones that used to purely be cartoons and stuff, and then they started switching into cartoons and so then they would have like the kids shows, um, doing all the goofy stuff that you know kids didn't really actually do, but I guess it was kind of funny to watch other kids get in trouble for it. Um, Cartoon Network never really did that. They stuck with cartoons, and so it's kind of sad to see that go away. I mean, clearly not all the cartoons were kid friendly. I think they started doing a Adult Swim after like what was it 9 p.m. or so, which I mean that's fine. Like grown-ups are allowed to like cartoons also. It's okay, but I guess it's all gone now. It's all gone now. And in that article, they had talked about, you know, it was starting to kind of get a little bit more anime-ish and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. It's not really, that doesn't really capture cartoons for me. Cartoons are just supposed to be whimsical and lighthearted and kind of fun or funny. I watched, there was a meme I saw last night or this morning, and it was Yosemite Sam and Elmer Fudd. And it said, like like this or share this or whatever if you grew up watching these cartoons and you never killed anybody. I felt like that was appropriate because that's why they went off the air. Do you remember that they were citing and they had to start changing them up to make them more nice and more friendly, because they were afraid that it was brainwashing people into killing people. It was probably the most asinine thing I'd ever heard. Foghorn Leghorn is a 6-foot chicken who pulls the guard dog out of the doghouse by his tail and whoops his butt with a fence post all of the time. Never seen that happen either. Not one time in real life. Also, fun fact for those of you who were keeping score, road runners don't actually go meet, and they're not actually being chased by coyotes. I've seen them lots of time in the wild. It didn't happen. They don't go meet. That's the very first part. They don't, it's not, none of it's true. None of it's true. I don't know why these morons felt like ruining people's childhoods and making it impossible to find cartoons that were actually something the whole family could sit down and watch. Why those have to go off of the air while others don't. Like we never see a Roadrunner. Like we never saw a Roadrunner cartoon. Well, exactly. And we tried the theory when we first moved to Laredo. The very first time we'd ever seen a Roadrunner. My mom was with us, and she put a pile of bird seeds in the front yard, just like we stacked it up, just like Wile E. Coyote used to do. And we took a sign and we put free bird seeds on it. Or free food or something like that. Hold on, I know I have that picture handy. So we've done this. We tried it out, and guess what? They didn't need it. Here it is. Y'all are gonna laugh because we wanted to, relive the moment. And yeah, there it is. See, we did it back in 2011. We've been trying these theories out for over a decade. Nothing. Anyway. Slow news day. I was promised that Walter was going to come onto the show. He's not here. And anyway, of course, Helena and our guests will be on around 11 o'clock. This was also, okay, here's some real news. I told you guys we were going to be a little intermittent today. All right. So this one kind of bothered me for multiple stupid ads. This one bothered me for multiple reasons. 18 dead as Mexican bus carrying foreign migrants crashes. It's disturbing enough to say the least. It's very sad to hear. At least 18 people were killed and at least 23 were injured Thursday when a bus carrying foreign migrants crashed. Okay, that's not actually, this is the picture from the bus crash. Now, this is tragic in its own. This came from Mexico City. It was on its way to Tijuana, San Diego border. I'm sure you can guess as to why. Of the people that were killed, 3 of them were children. That's never good to hear. Now, here's where it gets even more fun, if you will. These were not just Hispanics. See, people like to say that we're after the Mexicans or Hispanics or whatever. That's not the case at all. In fact, the people that were on this bus, most of them were from countries such as India, the Dominican Republic, and from Africa. And they were all trying to cross into the United States. Now, I'm sure that this is the United States' fault, that this bus was speeding through these hills and with these big ditches on the side. But must we not forget that they have quotas that they have to reach? Now, this is not the first time that this has happened. This is happening quite frequently, apparently. In February, there was one from Venezuela, a bus from Venezuela with Venezuelans, Colombians, and people from Central America. Then there was another one that happened in July where 29 people were killed. In December 2021, it talks about a trailer carrying 160 migrants, and they crashed. Most of them were Guatemalan. 56 people were killed. When we talk about border security, when we talk about all of this rhetoric about making sure that we shut down the border, it's dangerous. Do not cross. These leftist organizations like to hit us back and say, this is such a dangerous journey, and you're gonna stop people from coming into this country after they fought so hard to get here. Yes, we are. Go away. Just go away. If you want to come into this country legally, then just come into the country legally. The fact that these people, specifically, this article talks about people from a whole other continent. Now, Venezuela is not another continent, South America, but you know, Africa. What was it again? It was Africans, Dominican Republicans, and this specific accident. And India. Here's the deal, y'all. We can sit here and talk about immigration until we're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, other countries' immigration policies are part of our problem, right? Even with the trucking industry, the easiest thing is to import into Mexico and then bring it up. It's easier to go through that customs process. It doesn't mention about, and they may not be entering Mexico illegally. They might have a visa. They probably took a flight. Now, some of them may have been shipped in cargo containers. I'm not going to say that they're not. When we saw the Haitian invasion last year, many of them had been in the country for a very long time. That's why they were leaving their ID cards at the shore so that they could come in and claim the system on this side. We didn't just report about it. We physically saw it. We're not taking other people's information and making it news and pretending that it's ours. We always cite our sources on this show. We make sure that people know what's happening, and at painstaking rates, we try to make sure that we can physically be there to show you guys, which is why we're constantly asking for support. It's not free. We're not taking anyone's information and making it our own. We're not finding old stuff and resurfacing it. When we bring up old information, it's to show the relevance to what's happening right now. Not that we can get some sort of fake claim to notoriety on something that's just brand new. It's been hiding and nobody's known about. I made a post on my social media. It's something I don't typically do, and I may have talked about this yesterday. So if I did, I apologize, but not entirely. I made the comment that there were people in lofty places. Let me see. It may not have been yesterday. It was 2 days ago. I do apologize, America. I like to give you real information, not fake news. I do apologize. I did share this on my personal page. There's a group, news group, that is they're talking about what's happening in Plum Grove. Something, if you've been watching Texas Fully Loaded for any amount of time, you know that this is something that we've been talking about. And we've been talking about it because, number one, we've witnessed this with our own eyes. Walter has been painstakingly talking about this for years because it's only like 5 miles from from the house where his kids are. Like, this is not a brand new conversation, but because the TLR, Pale Horse, Closed Texas Borders, grifting groups are now talking about it. Now, all of a sudden, all of these conservatives are losing their banana peels. And these are people that have painstakingly talked to Walter on the phone for hours at a time. That he's been trying to get this information out. Now, the information that this group is sharing is not inaccurate information by any stretch of the imagination. But this is not brand new information. People just don't want to hear it unless they're being paid to hear it. We've got to stop these. We've got to stop making it about glitz and glam and start making it about just being real. Like, I have nothing against these people personally on a personal level. I have questions about who their sources are and why their sources are. So we got to really start cracking in to the who, what, where's, and whys, and why, what the political twerk, if you will, is on waiting so long to start launching this that we've been trying to bring attention to for a long time, and then going, oh my God, this is happening? Yes, it's happening, and it has been happening for quite some time. Pay attention. Pay attention. It's not a hidden secret. You just have to listen to the people who are actually reporting the real information in real time. Not just the people who are kissing ass to grift it. It's ridiculous. It's stupid, and it's toxic. Stop. Our nation is dying because you'd rather play games instead of just listen to the reality. I don't hold punches back on this show. Miss Helena, I see you in the background. Let's do a quick commercial break. That way we can fill you guys in with the full time. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and Miss Helena and our guest Mel is going to be with us. So y'all grab a friend, gets to share, and we'll see you guys in just a minute. with a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors, of course, the Montgomery County Tea Party. Don't forget the first and the third Monday of every month be at Citizens Grill in Conroe, Texas. Meeting starts at 6:30 this month, or this week, I should say. It's going to be Senator Brandon Creighton and State Representative Steve Toth. So make sure you guys are there for that. You're not going to want to miss out on that. Also, don't forget about our Vietnam Veterans America, and make sure you tell them welcome home. Find a local branch. Of course, we've been partnered up with the Baytown guys for a while now, so we love them. Find them, tell them welcome home, bring them some cookies, and just see how you can plug in and get involved and support them. Also, don't forget about mammothnation.com/#WeThePeopleWork. Support us so we can support you, so we can support all the things. Also go to TexasFullyLoaded.com, click on #WeThePeopleWork to support us directly. Go to the TFL shop and get some awesome TFL gear. You're not going to regret it. It's Texas made, American made, and support your favorite show. So you may as well do it. You're part of the team. Ken, you have a very valid statement here. How does a woman know she's right? She's standing next to a man. Mel, welcome to our show. How are you? Hi, Miss Helena.
Hi, Sandra. How are you? Hi, Mel.
Hey.
Mel is driving. She is on her way to Georgia to an event, so she may buffer a little bit, but she is here with us today, and I am super excited. She is a huge advocate for the January 6th political prisoners. I don't know anybody that has interviewed more Jan 6ers, and she has a lot to talk about today, and I'm happy that she's here with us. So, Mel, I'm going to let Sandra ask you a couple questions because I don't want to do total takeover as per usual. Go ahead, sweetie.
You're absolutely good. I see that you have someone who's pretending he's not back there. I have those that do that often. So keep fighting, Mom. We appreciate you. Well, welcome to Texas Fully Loaded. Tell us a little bit of.
It's pretty bad. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear me very well. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. I think it's a little bit delayed, but I think you can hear. We can hear you just fine. So. Well, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and then why you got involved with the J6ers.
Okay, well, great. Thanks, Sandra, for having me on. I appreciate it. I was there on January 6th, and, I was there as media. And when I left on the way home and I turned on the radio and the way it was being presented by the news, by the media, I said, they're coming for us all. This is not good. I know what history looks like, and they've done this before. So I was just very interested in finding these people who were being arrested as soon as that started, met some January 6th defendants along the way, and then they came to my house. The feds did. Came to my house twice. Second time I said, you can go talk to my attorney. And so I had to sit down with them at the FBI office. And fortunately, they did not pursue any charges. They just wanted all of my video and everything from that day. And so I did give it to them. And anyway, I've just been advocating for them ever since then, and now am working with a law firm who's got more of the defendants than anybody else, and that's John Pierce Law. And it's really just been my life for the past 2 years, has been advocating for them. And along the way, one of the first J6 defendants I met was Joe Thomas, and he started the hashtag Sing for Freedom movement. He's a defendant who, when he went to trial, had 12 charges, and he was represented by John Pierce Law and got not guilty on the 1512 obstruction charge, which was huge, as well as not guilty on 2 violence charges, violence on the Capitol grounds, which meant that his 5 police assault charges were not actually assaults, because this way that statute reads is assaults, impede, hinder. So since he was found not guilty on the violence, then it means that they weren't really assaults. And one of them one of the 5 assaults ended in a mistrial as well. So overall, it was a very good outcome to that trial. And but he's lost his job because of the trial. He's got 4 kids, a wife, and a father-in-law on hospice at their home that he takes care of, and $100,000 in legal fees to pay off. He's waiting to go to sentencing on September 5th. The government's trying to put him away for 10 years, which is just insane. Really, he should be getting out in like 3. So they're not stopping. They just go hard on these people as hard as they can. So we just started a raffle. It's not really a raffle. It's a prize giveaway to help support his ongoing needs, his family, taking care of them, and we've got some amazing prizes. And we're just rolling this out today. So I think Helena sent you maybe a flyer picture for it. And there's a QR code where you can go and buy tickets. We've got all sorts of amazing prizes on there. A lot of merchandise from content creators. We've got Michael Flynn's 5GW book. That's autographed by Boone Cutler, and I think we're going to get it autographed by General Flynn tonight as well. We've got Ann Wolf's CDs autographed by her. Joe, the defendant himself, painted. He's an artist as well, and he painted a beautiful painting, and it's called Erosion, and it looks like the American flag eroding. It's an huge acrylic painting. So that's one of the prizes. There is also his trial transcript. So it's really insane because you need your trial transcript when you go to appeal. Obviously you're going to need to look through it. Well, the government is the one that has to order it, but you have to pay for it. The defendant has to pay for it. And these things are like, a couple $1,000s. And they take forever. They take months to get them to you. So once we get this trial transcript, one of the prizes is going to be, yes, that's the painting, that's Erosion. One of the prizes is the trial transcript from his trial that will be autographed by him, by the defendant, and by his legal team as well. So that's going to be a really cool piece of history to have. But we keep adding more and more prizes to this. So right now we've got about a dozen prizes that you can see up there, but we have a lot more coming in. So this will be ongoing, and the drawing for all these prizes is going to be on Labor Day, September 4th, which is a couple of days before his sentencing, or maybe even the day before his sentencing, I guess. And that is day 1,000 of the J6 political hostage crisis. 1,000 days since January 6th.
So Joe Thomas is a friend of Texas Fully Loaded. We love him so much. I am so excited about this. I did not know about his hidden talent. So now he and I we're gonna fist fight on the air one day. And we will definitely do our part to share this QR code so that people can be involved. And so how does it work? You said it's not really a raffle, so we have the QR code. What do we do with it?
It's we can't call it a raffle because you can't call it a raffle unless you do all the right hoops and things legally. So it's a prize giveaway. So you buy tickets online, and then it's computer generated the drawing for who wins the prizes, and then they'll be contacted and mailed to them. So it's just basic. Basically how it works.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. We're all about busting through some red tape. So, all right, guys, you're just gonna support Joe, which you should be doing anyway. Just support him, and then you never know what that support might get you. Other than a little extra star in your crown.
That's right.
Well, so I had to do some squinting there to see what your website was for you. So you had mentioned that you were there on January 6th as a member of the media. So I want to make sure that we get you some kudos here a little bit. So you've got your own. Is it like a podcast or is it a website? Is it all the above?
That's my website. I have a podcast called Justice in Jeopardy, and I've interviewed more January 6th defendants than anybody by far. I think it's about 80 of them now. Many of those several times, and on top of that, also their family members, other people who are working on the front lines for January 6th, and yeah, so. It's my platform is for the voices of J6, and I let them talk, I let them share their stories, and so you hear the stories from their point of view.
No, that's so important, and that's why I always start off with tell us who you are and then why you got involved on January 6th, because people need to know. Like, I think that the thing that still so many people don't really realize is it's regular Americans who were like, you know what, something's not right. Let's go to our state's capital. Let's exercise our First Amendment rights. They had no idea that the government was going to retaliate on them in the moment and years later. So I think that it's very humbling when people can connect to that storyline, can connect and be like, oh my gosh, I thought the same thing, or hey, I'm from there, or fill in the blank. And that's what makes this tangible. We all know, whether you're in media, politics, fill in the blank, the best way to get a reaction is to connect with somebody. It's that hand touch, it's that interaction that goes, hey, wait a second, that I can relate to that. That makes sense to me. And so that's why you're absolutely correct. It's so important that we educate people on what is going on with the J6ers, letting people know, hey, this literally could have been you.
Yeah.
And it's for education and awareness, and to just humanize these people, because the left has just been nasty in what they have done to these people, and their lives have been ruined, their families' lives have been ruined, irrevocably. I mean, it's so awful. It really is. And now, as of yesterday, President Trump is also a J6er. So here we are.
Well, and I was laughing when I was talking with Walter earlier before the show, and I said, they keep rolling all this crap out, and they have been for the last couple of months. What's their October surprise going to be? Gosh darn it, we have a schedule here in the media, in politics. Right. I don't understand what the crap they're trying to do right now, and also like what are we going to roll out for an October surprise? So it should be interesting to see. I think the shock face and the shock value on everyone was through the roof yesterday when that happened.
Yeah.
Just kidding. And I think that, honestly, I'm surprised it took them this long, but also why did they do it this early? I think it would have had more funfare and flab, if you will, if they would have done it later. We all saw it coming, but it just proves to their ridiculousness. Yesterday on the air, I did share Mike Pence's ridiculous statement that he gave with Fox News, I think the day before. And, we kind of got a good laugh at it, but it was also proof yet again, that Pence should have never been his vice president. And also just more rumors and lies of the left, and not truly understanding the Constitution or history, both of which he claims that he's students of.
Yeah. I think that maybe their plan is, because we know they're selections, not elections. And maybe they're thinking, this Biden thing has been so awful. We need to make them think we're switching back to the Republican side, and so let's get Pence in there. Maybe we can even give him Cheney as a vice president. And so that's probably the plan in my eyes. That's what they think they're going to do. So they got to get rid of Trump. They got to lock him up so they can put Pence and Cheney in there.
I appreciate that you summoned Dick Cheney into this. Thank you. We want the clown show to continue. I mean, clearly that's the consensus, is the clown show must continue. And they're doing their. I mean, they didn't just double down on stupid. Like they went all in. Like We tease around the house here. We're like, never go full potato. And he literally just went full potato. Like it was one of the dumbest statements that I've ever heard from somebody running for president, especially somebody who's had such a political career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we have another Jan 6er, and it happens to be, a Jan 6er in chief in President Trump now, right? I was actually at the courthouse yesterday with that whole fiasco out there. There was press corps from every country. I have never seen so many press in my entire life. They were literally salivating at the mouth to get people in front of their microphones to do interviews and stuff. And I did several, and so did Suzanne. But I tell you, it was so crazy because it was the press and it was people on the left. There were very few Trump supporters out there, and I was really shocked because that was probably one of the first Trump events, protests here in DC, and there was very few people that showed up to that. I was very disappointed, but it's pretty funny that every time they hit Trump with another indictment, his polling numbers go up. So I think a lot of the American people are truly waking up and seeing what is actually happening and how this is all a political hit against him to keep him from running for president. And I don't think that this is going to work in their favor, to be honest with you. And now President Trump is going to, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing. Have all the access he wants to the global discovery. And he's got all the means, the money, and a fantastic legal team that has probably been working on it since they hit him with this last indictment. And much is going to be revealed. I'm not really that upset about him getting arrested, to be honest with you. He how am I going to put this so that your viewers don't get upset with me, those that are Trump supporters? Now he, I guess, has an understanding as to what the January 6th political prisoners have been going through, for more than 2.5 years. I had a question yesterday that nobody seems to be able to answer me, and maybe Mel can help because she's, boots on the ground in DC as more than I am, actually. Does he have an ankle monitor on? Is he going to have to go to probation and do UA tests every single week? Like, how is this going to work? I've got so many questions. I've just got so many questions. So I don't know. How about you, Mel? Are you like inquiring minds want to know what kind of stipulations are going to be put on Trump? Is he going to have travel restrictions?
I will. It will be very interesting to see. But the way I see it, I mean, with the last indictment, I mean, they list out all of the fraud, all of the election fraud. They list it out right there, and they say that it's all fake. And so it's because it is in there, it gives him, his attorneys and him, the opportunity to show that this was all fraud. Because people keep saying, oh well, it's all been disproven in the courts. No, every single time it's been brought to the courts, it's been dismissed on some technicality. And so maybe now we'll actually get the chance to prove that there was election fraud.
Well, and I think that some of this other side that we don't want to say out loud, but here's the reality of it, and this isn't mean in a mean, spiteful way by any stretch of the imagination, but the typical J6er that has been arrested and has been put through this firefight, they don't have the financial resources that Donald Trump does to be able to pay for these legal teams.
Yeah,
they don't, and they had to literally torture all of these Americans for all of this amount of time so that they could, get their revenge somehow. I don't think that Trump's going to end up with any of the stuff because, oh, well, he's the former president of the United States, so we can't do that stuff to him. And so where is this going to sit? What is it that he's now going to be able to bring to the table, aside from, lawyers that he doesn't have to worry about paying because he's already paying them. He's got more than enough resources to pay them. But and Helena, that I'm not an anti-Trumper by any stretch of the imagination. But these are some of the concerns that I've been having for a long time. Yes, we knew that he was going to have he was going to end up with some sort of charges at some point. But at the end of the day, I feel like he should have been doing more all along in terms of doing something for these people and that they've been fighting. I mean, we've got families, we've got J6ers that are committing suicide because they can't afford their legal fees. We have people who are in jail because just blatantly the prosecution and the defense were working together. I mean, we see all of these injustices that have been happening, and no, he's not going to get a taste of that, not even for a second. He's got the means to be able to fight this. He's got the means to be able and the diplomatic immunity because he was the former president of the United States of America.
Well, that's very true. And I've said it for a very long time. And I've been very critical of Trump as well. 2 years ago, all he would have had to do was put out a public service announcement to his base and alert them as to what was happening with these January 6th political prisoners and tell them to forego their $5 cup of coffee or their 6-pack of beer and donate to some of these Jan 6 defendants, give, send, go. Every single one of them would have been in a much different position. And Trump has not been outspoken at all. And I've probably been one of the most critical people, although I am going to be voting for Trump because he is the only one that has stated on multiple occasions that he's going to pardon Jan 6ers. I don't want a blanket pardon. I want it to be case by case. There were people that day that did some very bad things and they should be punished, but they be punished with decades in jail? I don't think so. So it does have to be case by case, but he certainly could have spoken out much, much more. He could have done so much. And, I've heard people say on the right, well, he can't really speak out because that would have brought the heat on him. Well, guess what, Trump? The heat has now come to your front door. And now you're going to have to deal with this. But you do have the means. You do have the legal team. You're not going to suffer one day in jail. You're never going to sit in solitary confinement. You're never going to be fed food that's been poisoned. You're never going to be denied medical treatment. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I don't feel sorry for President Trump. I am sorry that he's dealing with the situation. But in that respect, I'm almost glad that this happened because I think that it's going to wake up the rest of the country so that they truly start digging in and investigating what happened January 6th, because all we have ever wanted is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I think that this is going to open a whole nother Pandora's box that the left was not expecting.
No, I definitely agree with that. And I was starting to almost chuckle to myself when you were talking about some of the stuff. But, because I thought, oh, what a hardship. He's going to get put under house arrest in Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah. Oh, woe is me with your chef and your swimming pool and your gold-plated walls and toilets and he'll still probably be able to go out on the golf course. I don't know where that base of that ankle monitor is going to be. If he's even got an ankle monitor, there's no telling.
That's the other side. Like, he's not had any, even when the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, several months ago, none of his rights were infringed on. No, he didn't wake up with lasers on his chest or anything along those lines. I mean, and so this is where the left is going to be like, see, these J6ers, they're not really getting it as hard. If they only did this to Trump, they're making up the rest of it, or the rest of them were probably, they were even worse hardened criminals. And, so I don't know how this is going to fare. I'm hoping that, like we stated earlier, with the discovery process, like you mentioned, the universal discovery process and things along those lines, I think that is going to be a good pool, a good vehicle for all of this. But I just, not that I want this to happen to anyone, what has happened to our J6ers, but we can't even begin to compare apples to oranges here. Ha! Get it? Because he's the orange man. Okay, anyway. But sorry, it just naturally happens on this show.
We keep things light and sunny here.
You can't compare the two, but it definitely, I don't know what it's really going to look like. And depending on what happens with his case, just like we were talking about with Joseph Thomas's and the ones that are going to the Supreme Court, how quickly are these going to be able to move through so that we can get some restoration and justification for our J6ers that have already been through this, and with the potential of making sure that these others with these arrest warrants that are still pending don't go out.
Well, and that's another thing. I mean, over the weekend, I think we had 5 new arrests. There was one yesterday. So they're continuing. They're not stopping. I thought it was somewhere around 1,000. And then I had a conversation with David Summerall from Stop Hate, and he has he said 1,600. And I have no reason to doubt that, because he's probably more in the know than the rest of us. So it is super scary that there is going to be many, many more people that are going to be arrested. Oh, yay, there's Walter. Hi, Walter. It's scary. It's very scary. And you know what they've proven is that if you speak out, if you go against the government, if you say that the election was stolen, if you were at the Capitol that day, it doesn't even matter whether you went in or not. It just seems like they're coming for us all, like Mel stated earlier. And we've all felt that from the beginning. So where's this end? Where does this end? That's what's really shocking. And I hope that starts to be part of the narrative of the story that we start talking about, because I don't think, America really has an understanding as to what is truly happening. If it doesn't affect you, then you don't seem to want to get involved. And we've got to change that. We got to change that by talking about it and getting the truth out. And Mel has been a big catalyst for that, because she's interviewed so many Jan Sixers, and she's had so many on her platform. And, she's given a lot of these people a voice that they would have never had before. So thank God that she does that, because there's so few people that are helping and speaking out. And that's why, Fridays on your show are super important. And you've given us your platform, and you've opened it up for us to be able to talk about the Jan Sixers. And it's so important that, we bring them on, or we bring advocates on to tell these stories. And listen, it's fundraising, it's getting the stories out, it's helping the families, it's helping with commissary and communications. We have the Yellow Ribbon, Operation Yellow Ribbon fundraising campaign that we have been trying so hard to get the word out, to try to help these families take some financial burden off and give a tiny little bit of comfort to the Jan Sixers that are already locked up and incarcerated. But every single day there's more people that are getting arrested. So it's getting to a point where we're critical. We're getting in the critical stage at this point. Hi, Walter.
Hola. You could not be more correct. I am just glad that we didn't get to put Al Gore in jail after he denied the election in 2000. And then, we have Sheila Jackson Lee. She finally decided to bail out of Congress and run for mayor of Houston. But she was also one of those that was an election denier. I believe it was 2016, if I'm not mistaken. You had Barbara Boxer. You had all these folks in the past 20 years. And this is the first time now. Granted, there was definitely an insurrection at the Capitol, but I thought it was the FBI that had the biggest portion of that insurrection, if I'm not mistaken. And on top of that, the U.S. Capitol Police, where we have several of their police officers who seem to be not working there anymore because they either were red-pilled or they were telling the truth, or actually, I'm sorry, red pill and the truth is the exact same thing. You're spot on. So, and you know what? You're exactly right about platforms, because the platforms do matter. We've had a lot of people contact us. The small platform we've got, we've been able to host some actual events that have congregated thousands of people. Matter of fact, my own former Congressman Kevin Brady was even a big Stop the Steal advocate. I'm only wondering why he's not sitting in jail. And his former staffer, all these people that are popular, that have all this money. You notice that they got up on the stage and said, "Stop the steal, stop the cheat," all these other .coms they were coming up with, but we don't see their name on any of the commissary slips as we do with the individuals who were actually incarcerated for rape, for weed, for, I mean, you know, Joe Biden himself wrote the 94 crime bill. How many people have been put in jail for that? How many activists have come out for that?
That's right. That's right. You know, I'm always wondering where all of these MAGA, America First people are, that we try to reach out to and, you know, talk to and spread awareness. And, you know, they could potentially write big checks, but they don't do that. And I just want to back up for a moment, since we're talking about the Capitol Police and whistleblowers. It's kind of funny because and I'm going to turn this over to Mel, and I think she knows where I'm going with this because we actually had an opportunity just last week, or maybe it was the week before. I don't know. The days mesh a little bit, but Mel and I had an opportunity to sit down and talk to Tariq Johnson, who is the MAGA police officer. And we had a great meeting with him, didn't we, Mel? And he's been working very hard with Ivan Raiklin. And I think that his report that he is putting together, that he's going to be presenting to the American people very soon. And I don't want to give too much information about that because we kind of got a little bit of well, how am I supposed to put? I think he said a lot of things to us confidentially, and we're certainly not going to disclose that. But we did have a meeting with him, and he has big plans to expose Yolanda Pittman, who was in charge of the Capitol Police that day. And she was certainly a big part in what happened as far as what the Capitol Police did and didn't do. And our meeting with Tariq was very, very eye-opening, very eye-opening. And he has a lot to say. And I don't think it's going to be too long before he comes out with his big reveal. What do you think, Mel?
One question, Mel. Can I ask Mel? Where is Yolanda Pittman these days?
I'm sorry?
Where is Yolanda Pittman these days?
She's in California. So
and what is she doing?
She got another job. She's in Berkeley.
Right. Yeah. And whose district is that one in?
Did you say it Berkeley?
Hang on. Whose district is that one in? That would be.
I don't know.
Is it Pelosi?
Yeah!
Oh, ding ding! I win the prize! Yay! Oh my God! Yeah. Why does that not surprise any of us?
All right, give us the rundown, Miss Mel.
Well, I just, you know, he fully believes that all of this is on Yogananda Pittman and Manger, the new chief. And that Manger doesn't know what he's doing, and that he shouldn't have this. He's way out of his league with this, and I don't know. I don't know how much I can share, so I better just not say anything else. But you got to follow. It's Tariq. You got to say his name right. It's Tariq. He does not be Tariq, or it's Tariq. So, or you could just call him TK. But you got to follow him on Twitter because he's loud about all of this as he's letting it out, and I'm gonna have him on my show in a few days, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll see what comes out. But
hey Mel, I need you to remind him that we need some good police officers here in Texas, and transferring in is not a problem, especially with federal service. I used to train a lot of those U.S. Capitol Police, so. I do know that they're training more so over into what we've got in Texas, and we've got some pretty decent pay right now.
Well, I'll tell him that. Maybe he'll want to go down to Texas. I think he wants to be here for all the politics, for to get this done, and then maybe we can just get him down to Texas. I'm driving to Texas right now. Actually, I'm on my way.
Texas is the best place to be.
Wait, which part of the country are you driving from?
Virginia. I'm a Texas girl, though. I'm a Texas girl, born and raised in Houston. And
yeah.
So I'm a Texas expat now in Virginia, but I love me some Texas. I'm on my way to Galveston. Gonna
Ouch.
Yeah.
You want to talk about corruption? Bam. That looks like Capitol Police out there.
Oh yeah. Bad.
Well, hey, we may have to connect off the air. We might be able to get together on Sunday.
That sounds great.
I'll make sure that I forward you Mel's phone number so you can reach out.
Perfect.
Super.
Well, so Mel, what is Tarek? What's his? Because I actually loved watching him get demonized, and I don't mean that in a good way, but that literally shows the hypocrisy of everything those morons are doing up there. And then where is the right that came out for him? Where is he at? Was he called? Now he was called in front of the Capitol, that one of the committees, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right?
No, I don't think he's ever gotten to testify.
What?
Isn't that correct, Helena?
You mean Marjorie Taylor Greene never called him to testify in front of their little committee?
No, he didn't.
I'm sorry. Hang on.
Committee.
Let me put on my shock face. Hold on.
That was your shock face, Walter. Alrighty then.
That is a guy. Tarek is a guy. If you watch his videos closely, he read the room. He worked with both sides, and he tried his damnedest to make sure he could affect change in his little world, since it was circulated with a lot of people. And to be honest with you, he was very effective in what he did. And there should be nobody from Nancy Pelosi on down to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Nobody should take that away from him. He did his true due diligence as a constitutional police officer that had the forethought to actually perform how he did. He was outside of the box the whole time.
Good for him. And honestly, that's what it takes. And that's something that we talk about so often. And one of Walter's biggest frustrations with especially those in federal law enforcement, but really anymore in law enforcement in general, is they're so ingrained in, if you will, that star test mentality of you can't think outside of the box. It's only what's in black and white. It's only what's on paper. I know that you see the correct answer. And we've even seen, like, parents will post on social media, like, here's the answers to the question. None of them are even close to the correct answer. And the teacher goes, yeah, but you were supposed to pick the one that was going to be the closest to correct. And it's like, but none of those were the correct answer. And so that's what they're asking or expect, not even so much asking, that's what they're demanding law enforcement to do. I know that none of these are the right answer, but you were wrong because you didn't pick one of these.
Well, and like Tarek, he specifically, I want to say he disobeyed an unlawful policy, which makes him stand. He stood on his constitutional oath that he took, because the policies were don't do anything for a little while, skip it by. We saw that the actual police chief of the time, just shortly thereafter, within February. Whenever Nancy Pelosi, they were having the Zoom committee hearings, we physically saw where the Democrat narrative did not match. But then my question is, where were the Republicans to take capture of that? Their staffers kept them too busy with garbage whenever they should have been actually representing the constituents of their district. We had a congressman come to one of our Jan 6 prayer rallies, and he got up there to sell his book, and he was, trust me, he was made famous. I'm not going to say his name. He was made famous, but then the crowd in our district came out after him. We could get Morgan Luttrell there, but by God, oh, did I just say Troy Nels? I'm sorry, but by God,
he's such a disappointment.
He was up on a stage. He could not get his books in a box and out the door quick enough after the crowd came at him, and that was about a crowd of about 500 to 600 in our Lone Star Convention Expo Center.
I don't think he has Jethro. But no, that's exactly what happened. And honestly, I think we were all a little bit shocked that he was number one invited, and then number two that he even showed up. We kind of had money on the fact that he wasn't even going to show up. So, I mean, I'll at least give him the kudos that he showed up. That he showed up. He did it strategically. I think he showed up late on purpose to make sure he wasn't going to like get barred from the room. And then the people that were there, especially the J6ers that were there, they were not favorable towards him. Let's just leave it that way. And yeah, he ran out of there like his pants were on fire. Jethro remembers. You know who else remembers? Pedridge Farm remembers.
Well, you guys, Mel was actually instrumental in getting Troy Nels to go visit the jail, and after he said some pretty disparaging things about the January 6th political prisoners after his visit, they did allow visitation for the families. So that's good. That came out of that. But Mel was actually instrumental in organizing that and making that happen. I don't know how many times you spoke to him, Mel, but if you want to talk about that for a moment, since we're on the subject, I don't know.
Since we're there.
Take you through all of it, but I ended up with his cell phone number, and I texted him and I said, you know, one of the guys inside the DC Gulag wants to talk to you. Can we call you? And so Nels immediately picks up the phone. He's on the floor. He's on the floor and he calls me, and he's like, all interested, you know, wants to talk to us. So John Mellis from inside the DC jail calls me. We're on a three-way. And Nels is going, is it true? Is it true that you haven't had any visitation in 2 years? And John's like, yes, it's true. But I want to tell you about Roseanne Boylan. And he's trying to tell him about Roseanne Boylan. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He just wants to hear about how he hasn't had visitation. So I do end up connecting Troy Nels with Ronald McAbee's wife, Sarah, so that she can tell him about what's happened, because all that Nels is like, I was a sheriff. I know all about how jails are supposed to be run. And, you know, I want to make sure that these guys are, you know, have their rights inside the jail. So anyway, he does help with Ronald McAbee, who was, you know, he spray while left in the OC spray for like 18 hours or something insane like that. He does, you know, get that investigated. He goes over on January 5th of this year to the jail, and I think it was on the 5th. No, it was on the 5th. He goes over on the 5th, and when he walks in there, the guys are so excited. You know, they're like, oh, finally another member of Congress is coming to see us. They're so excited. He walks in, and the first thing he says to all those guys in there is, if you have charges for violence against a police officer, I am not here for you. Well, like, most of those guys in there have charges like that. That doesn't mean they're guilty of them. And it was just like he slapped him across the face. I mean, they were so upset. But anyway,
That's Troy Nels.
Yeah. So I go over, well, so then the next day on January 6th, I was there with Mickey when she got arrested, and it's actually my video of her arrest that went all over the place, but I never got credit for it. But you can hear me in the middle of it. You can hear me yelling at the police. You hear my voice. I'm going, you murdered her in the Capitol, and now you're arresting her. So it was pretty funny. But on that day, right after Mickey got arrested, John Mellis calls me from inside, and he said, we just found out next Friday we're going to start getting visitation. So it turns out what we think happened really is that Nels heard that they were going to get visitation. So he went over there and visited them to make it look like he's the one that made it happen.
Imagine that.
So Walter is about to come out of his skin. So when that January 6th event happened, prayer event happened, and that was specifically stated from people in the room, especially, I think David Summerall was the first one to say it. He said he literally just went to visit so that when he got here, he could say that he just visited them. He was not there out of the right reasons. And I mean, he just completely just like through it all, every single thing that you said, David Summerall was saying on it was January 7th is when we had that event, but it was a prayer rally for the J6ers. But holy smokes. And I know the other thing that I was reading your mind on, Walter. You're right.
Just so you know. Yeah,
you're totally right.
We physically have his cell phone number. He got many calls over the course of the last year. So when he went famous on the news, talking to the guy with the guns drawn on him, and he's over there, and him and Pat Fallon and Tony Gonzalez and whoever else was there, they're all being deemed as the heroes because they stayed. You know, that was a great moment for him to capture. But the even greater moment for him to capture would have been, what were the charges? And it doesn't matter what the charges are. He's had capital murder suspects that he has treated better than he's treated the J6ers that have been in his own jail. He's had child molesters that he has treated better in his own jail than he has the Jan 6ers. And the DC gulag, the DC system right there, specifically runs under the purview of Congress. Why hasn't the House come forward, since we have the majority of the right, why haven't they come forward with recreating things that need to happen? They specifically had the administration over those policies in that jail.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and this is I think that this is what is so Troy Nels is like, you know better. Like you can be charged with it. I can draw up charges on Walter for anything. Assaulting. I saw the way he looked at my pig, wishing it was bacon. You know what I mean? Like it's a harassment of my personal property, whatever you want to call it. Like you can pull up charges. You can get somebody charged with anything, but can you prove it is another story. Is there proof to substantiate it? That's the real question. You don't have to be charged, or they don't have to have proof to charge you with something.
I can charge a whole lot of things right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm screaming.
That too. You know, well, Trump was, you know, he's guilty of all these things because he was charged down with them. Is that what he's thinking?
Oh wait. Hold on. Start over, Walter. I had to mute you because when you don't talk, your car is loud.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, hang on. Let me. There we go. So specifically, the charges of President Trump, the impeachment process was a charge. Was it denied? Every single time. How come he is going to stand up for Donald Trump and not stand up for the Jan 6ers whenever there's physical video? What happened with Donald Trump is collusion behind the scenes. It's fake dossiers. It's all this kind of stuff. You have to dig into it. Whenever you physically look at the videos coming out and you see a Capitol Police officer's club, his baton getting assaulted by a Jan 6er's face, that should tell you where the charges should go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Walter, you've had a request that you would hold those cards still, please, and show the back.
Yeah. Oh, you need the CVV? Hey, you know I did that. On Facebook once, I told people I was taking orders for something. Just go ahead and drop your stuff here. I had 2 people drop their Visa cards in the comments.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What is wrong with people?
Yeah. I thought it would be funny. I had to delete the whole post. I was like, wow, I didn't think anybody would really do that. So. Well,
we're running out of, we only have about 4 minutes left, and I don't know if Mel lost connection or she got a phone call or something. That happens all the time. But guys, make sure that you do check out her page. Let me put this up here on the thingamajigger, Bob. Hold on a second.
And drop it in the comments.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, she unfortunately just sent me a text message and said that she lost connection and signal and she could not hear us, but she wanted me to thank you all for having her on the show today. And, she's been a big advocate for our dear friend Joe Thomas. and we want to do everything that we can to help him promote his fundraiser and help him raise some money. Joe is going for sentencing, like she said, September 5th. So I'm asking everyone to please keep Joe Thomas, our dear friend, in their prayers. He is looking at 10 years right now. I'm hoping and praying that we can also pray for the judge to soften his heart and perhaps not, give Joe that very harsh sentence, because at the end of the day, he didn't even go inside the Capitol, and none of any of this that he's going through is deserving. And, he's a great guy, and he's a great patriot, and he's a veteran, and he stood up for this country, and we have to get behind him. We have to help him as best we can.
Well, I held my phone up. What we're going to do is I'll take a screenshot of that image of the QR codes that you can go on our Facebook page after the show and be able to click on that. You have to do it from your phone in order to do however you QR code. Okay. That's what you're going to have to do. Okay. But I'll put that QR code up so that we can support Joseph Thomas. Again, it's not a raffle, just for all of you legal bugs out there. It's not a raffle. Just if you happen to give money to his cause, there wasn't like a specific price tag, correct? It's just if you happen to give.
I think it's a $20 donation, but if you can't do that and participate with the fundraiser that they're doing for him, you can always go to his website, Sing for Freedom. He has all of his information on there, all of the podcasts that he's done, and he's also got his Give, Send, Go on there as well. And you actually have that on your ticker, and I want to say thank you, and I appreciate that. You guys
absolutely. I just found. Let me see if we can before the show ends. It's going to have to be super fast. So hold on, guys. Let me see if I can get this pulled up here. The website there's a website that I can just copy and paste into this, but we'll do all of the things. You guys know that we love Joseph Thomas, so we'll make sure we get it all in there for you guys. And we need to get Joe back on before September 5th.
We definitely will. We'll get him scheduled to come on here. It's really great to have him on too, because he speaks like one of our founding fathers, right, guys? Like, he's just so articulate. He's such a great guy. He loves this country. You would think that he would be like super bitter about what's going on, but he's not. He's always just all about God, family, country. He's a great patriot. And we're going to do everything that we can to help support Joe and help raise money for him and his family. And prayers are definitely appreciated at this time as well.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Miss Helena, we love you. We thank you so much for being on here. Like always, every week faithfully, you guys show up, and we truly appreciate that. Charlotte has been very upset because all week long she has not gotten to end our show. So Charlotte, take it away. Bye, y'all. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great week.
Appreciate it, you guys. Love you all. See you next